Well, Section 27 says it's had to continue threatening litigation against the Limpopo Education Department over the eradication of pit toilets. This, remember, is a situation 9 years after 5-year-old Michael Komape drowned in that pit toilet in Limpopo. Fast forward, and the body of a 4-year-old little girl was found even recently at a pit toilet at a school in the Eastern Cape. Amnesty International South Africa has called on the Basic Education Minister, Angie Motshekga, to now eradicate pit toilets. Let's speak to Senior Attorney at Section 27, Demichelle Petherbridge, and Amnesty International South Africa's Spokesperson, Mienke Steytler. Let me start with you, Ms. Petherbridge. I hope that is how I pronounce your surname. Michael Komape drowned all those years ago. Over the last 9-year period, let's start with this. How many more youngsters have lost their lives?
Yes, well, these are only the names that we know of. We know of a little girl called Limpopo Education, who was 5 years old, who died in a pit latrine in 2018 in the Eastern Cape. Michael Komape, as you know, is 5 years old. He was in Limpopo. These are only two names of children who have been reported. Unfortunately, we think that in rural provinces, sometimes this happens and they're just not reported. They don't make it into the public eye. So we don't really know, exact statistics of how often this happens, but we know at least of these two.
And from Section 27's perspective, how is this still possible? Because so many years have passed. In 2021, the High Court ordered the Education Department to keep it updated. Has the department complied? Where is the legal standing right now?
So as you said, in 2021, the Polokwane High Court said that they needed to revise their plans and deliver this by December 2021, which they did do. And every 6 months after that, they were meant to deliver progress reports on this, and we've so far received 2 progress reports. So they've been compliant in terms of delivering the information. They've been compliant in terms of delivering a revised plan. And what was great about the revised plan is that they had set their own targets. The most urgent target is the 31st of March, the end of this month, in which they say that all pit toilets should be replaced or eradicated from schools that only have pit latrines as their only, it's their only form of sanitation. At the moment, in January, in terms of the information we have, in January 2023, 210 schools still had pit latrines only as their only form of sanitation. Whether or not they're going to meet this deadline is still to be seen. That's a lot of schools that need to be sorted out within a matter of 3 months. So we're counting down the days, and we'll certainly do a verification exercise to see whether or not they're able to comply with the deadline.
So the deadline is just in a few days, but you'll have to look back at the records, is what you're saying. Ms. Steytler, thank you for joining us as well. Amnesty International is saying that this is violating domestic and international legal obligations that government has, and you say it's not only about sanitation but the right to life. It's that serious.
To life, to dignity, rights that are enshrined in the Universal Declaration for Human Rights as well. So it's really something that is so serious, and it's wonderful to hear the amazing work always that Section 27 does on this, and the litigation that they're doing, and the tracker, because we also at the beginning of this month, or the end of February, we also called on Minister Motshekga because the DBE as a whole had set itself a deadline of eradicating pit toilets throughout the country, or at schools throughout the country, by the end of this financial year. And 28 February 2023 was the end of that financial year. And we still have had no word, although you did they are going to have a media briefing on Sunday, so we wait in anticipation to see what the updates will be when they do actually speak. But yes, we want to shine a light that it's not only domestic, it's not only violating domestic laws and their own laws that they set up themselves, but it's also the Constitution, and the right to sanitation, and the right to dignity, and the right to life that's enshrined in our Constitution is also enshrined in laws that South Africa is party to, that are international, and laws around equal basic education for all children all over the world.
Let me ask you both the same question, starting with you, Ms. Petherbridge. Why has nobody been fired over this? We know they are still there because a body was found in a pit latrine recently. Why has nobody been fired? What is the problem here that South Africa can't deal with this fundamental issue?
That's a very interesting question. I mean, we're talking about a whole different level of accountability, where we, when you demand that specific officials start taking responsibility for mismanagement, and I think that's something we should start exploring. Because there are officials that are in charge of certain things, and when things aren't done, they should be called to account. I mean, at this point, we have not heard of officials being fired, and it's not clear why, what the DBE does internally when they follow up on this kind of thing. And there are other reasons as well that we've been given as to why progress has been slow. We know that budgeting is a problem. We know that work with implementing agents has been a problem. Sometimes there are things happening in communities that are causing problems. So it's not only laying at the feet of the officials. We know that there could be a host of problems, but I definitely hear what you're saying in terms of holding them more accountable and asking exactly why work isn't being done. And I think those questions do need to start being asked. I don't think it should be just the job of the courts or of lawyers to start forcing provinces to come up with plans and start explaining why things aren't done. I think civil society and school communities, SGBs and parents should start going to districts and asking these questions and holding them accountable.
Ms. Steytler?
Yes, I completely agree. We also we've not heard of anyone being fired. What we do get often is that they like to say, well, we've given them the budget and it's municipal level and they're not doing it. Why are you coming to us? Why are you asking us to be held accountable? It's not really us. It's the municipalities, it's the school districts, it's this and this. They're always passing the buck, right? Well, if ultimately the buck does stop at the highest level, at the minister. And if people are not doing their jobs, then that there should be transparency and transparent communication around that. And those people should be fired. And also, with the chats, of course, as has been mentioned, it's a huge job. So we do have sympathy for that. But what we don't have sympathy for is the silence, is just, if it's, just tell us what's the challenge, tell us what's holding it up. Tell us, maybe there's solutions, maybe there's ways that we can come together. Maybe there's ways that we can collaborate on solutions, but it's the radio silence that gets really frustrating. And it just seems that a child loses his or her life, everyone's in uproar, and then it dies down again, and it's almost like the DBE hopes that we've all forgotten a little bit, and then the next child dies and it's an uproar again. And I don't think we can allow that to happen again. Anybody can.
I agree, and let me give you the final word, Ms. Petherbridge. This app sounds great, but without a strong civil society really pushing back against this sort of things, how effective will it be? Who will it help? I understand it'll show that nearly 66,000 learners in Limpopo still rely on pit toilets, according to the last count. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. As of January 2023, as I mentioned, 210 schools still have pit latrines only, and that amounts to about 65,000 learners who are being affected. And in terms of who this app is designed for, it's an online platform that's available on our website. It's designed for school communities. It's designed for members of the public to literally go on, type the name of their school, if it's a school in Limpopo, and see what kind of information the department has on them, to say, the department says there are X amount of pit latrines. Is that true? If the department says so many toilets are necessary in order to make the school compliant and adequate, is that true? So it's really something to empower the public, and not only school communities, but also civil society organizations, for journalists, for researchers, for anyone who's interested in shining light on statistics and on progress. The tool is targeted for them to kind of give them more information about what's happening and to hold government more accountable. So I guess it's open to the public, and it will really depend on how much the public uses this. But our hope is that we're trying to make the tool as accessible as possible. We're trying to create a lot of advocacy around it, especially in Limpopo, so that these tools will be used. And we hope that the civil society will embrace it and use this.
All right, thank you both, and hopefully One day we can talk about the last pit toilet being eradicated in South Africa. That was Amnesty International South Africa's spokesperson Mienke Steytler and senior attorney at Section 27 Demichelle Petherbridge.